Welcome to the University of Pennsylvania. Tonight, we're going to talk about Black excellence, a celebration of our history at Penn. My name is Manisha Van Wright, and I'm an associate director of admissions here at Penn. I'm joined by my colleague Brian Peterson, and tonight we'll be co-moderating. I'll let Brian say hello for a moment.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Peterson. I'm the director of MACU, Penn's Black Cultural Center. I'm also a Penn parent, and I have a few Penn degrees, as you can see on the slide.
Thank you, Brian. So typically, when we gather on campus, we like to do a land acknowledgement. I know we're not here in person, but it's still important that we give honor and respect to the local natives of the Philadelphia community. Penn occupies the traditional homelands of the Lenni Lenape. Penn acknowledges this fact and expresses gratitude to the indigenous people, both past and present, for the opportunity to live and learn on and through Lenape Hogan, land of Lenape. Thank you. Overview. So tonight we're just going to talk about Black history at Penn, and then we'll talk about the Black community and the resources we have. And then we'll have a moderated panel discussion where myself and Brian will ask some questions of four current students. And then I hope you all are putting questions in the question and answer box because we plan on looking in there and answering some of the audience questions. Okay, Brian.
So at Penn, I have the privilege and pleasure of teaching a class on Penn's Black history. So shown in the picture here is the last bullet point. The first tenured African-American faculty member, William Fontaine, is a program named after him on campus. But these are some of the other key pieces. Again, our first Penn graduate, James Brister, there's also a society named after him as well.
So how's going? Currently, we have 107 Black faculty members, tenured faculty members at Penn. 7.8% of our population, our undergraduate population, identifies as Black. 3.2% of our students identify as Black and biracial. 93% of Black undergraduate students are graduating on time at the university. We have 7 historically Black lettered Greek organizations on campus. And including those 7 Greek lettered organizations, we have over 32 Black student organizations. So things like the Black Student League or some Caribbean or West Indian organizations, some African organizations, some religious-based organizations. However you identify, or the things that make you happy, or the things that make you feel like home away from home, we have it here for you. And
Yep. Is the next slide up?
yes, is this the Du
Uh,
Bois? Do you see it? Sorry.
I see it now. Thank you. No problem. So Penn is blessed to have a bunch of different cultural centers, and then there are 4 different entities that focus specifically on the Black student experience. So there's the Boy Scholars House, the African American Resource Center, MACU, and here's a fun fact: MACU is actually the youngest Black cultural center in the country. We were the last one, founded in 2000, and Africana Studies is focused on the academic portion of the Black experience. And I think there's a delay on my side because the slides, it's like a pause. I see it now. Thank you. So
Sorry.
one of my roles, no, it's all good. It's all good. I know technology, we're working it out. But one of my roles at MACU is focusing on the bottom 2, the MACU Senior Awards and Robeson Cooper Scholars. We also do a little bit with Johnson Scholars, and we also host the Kwanzaa celebration. But across Penn, through the student organizations and the different 4 pillars that we just saw, these are just a taste of some of the experiences, whether it be an organization or a society or an event that you can expect to find on campus. And as Manisha mentioned earlier, this is some of the organizations. So Umoja is the umbrella group on campus that really focuses on sort of the political agency of Black students, as well as trying to coordinate all these different groups. Now, all of these groups, all the groups on campus that focus on the Black experience may not be a formal member of Umoja, because there's a lot of other constituent groups, and they may have, some collaborations across these other entities. But by and large, any group that touches the Black experience is going to fall under the Umoja umbrella. And then we try to categorize them in terms of themes. So purpose is really around the pre-professional groups. Kuji Sakalea would be the Black Greek organizations, and then Imani faith. And all of these are principles of Kwanzaa. So there's 7 principles of Kwanzaa. So this breakdown allows us to highlight Kwanzaa not just in December and January when Kwanzaa is celebrated, but throughout the entire year through the work of these student groups.
Thank you, Brian. So let's celebrate our scholars. We have some really high level scholars here at Penn. Recently, in the class of 20, we have Christine Olegan Samuel, who's been named a Fulbright fellow. We also have a Rhodes Scholar, Ania, who is a Philadelphia native, and she's studying in Oxford right now as we speak. And special surprise, we have Misha McDaniel, who actually is here as one of our panelists. She's a Beinecke Scholar. Beinecke Scholars were founded in 1975. This year, Misha is only one of 18 chosen in the nation. So we are really excited to have her. And she's going to share a lot about her journey here at Penn and how she got named as a Beinecke Scholar a little bit later. Additionally, we have something called the President's Engagement Prize. So those other awards are mostly global or national. The President's Engagement Prize is specifically for people who attend Penn. So usually current students, they might work hand in hand with recent alumni. Although this is a new program, many of the prize winners have been of the Black community. And one of the ones that we've highlighted in recent years is Shadrach Frimpong, who was College of 2015. He created a school for girls in a small village in Ghana where he was from. And the prize was $100,000 for him to enact his vision. He had partnered with Google, so he got more resources there, and he received a $50,000 stipend for living expenses. Lastly, life after Penn, whether you're going to graduate school or you're going to work at a Fortune 500 company, Penn has your back. Penn will continue to follow you. You can join immediately the Black Alumni Society, our career service offices. Our career service office is open to you and will help place you in a job. In fact, over 96% of all Penn students already have a job by January of their before they graduate. So you will be just fine. And as you can see, there are Penn scholars who are at Google, they work at other universities, they work at sports places like the NBA or in the NFL, or they stay right here on campus like Brian Peterson. He was an engineer, then he completed so many other degrees and we just can't get rid of him. So again, there's so many options as a Penn graduate. And with that, we are going to segue into the fun part of tonight. Tonight is really about the students. If you're here and you're interested in learning about Penn, I always say that the best way to hear about Penn and understand what Penn has to offer are for the people who are kind of in the thick of it right now. So we are really excited to have these 4 panelists. I will allow them to introduce themselves, beginning with Sydney, and then we can go to the right of the screen.
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Sydney. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm from Nashville, Tennessee originally. I'm majoring in political science with minors in Africana studies and legal studies. And on campus, my involvements consist of I'm the visit coordinator for daily programs for Kite and Key. I am an associate editor for the Penn Undergraduate Law Journal, and I am the outreach and inclusion chair for the Penn Mergers and Acquisitions Club.
Hello, everyone. I am Cialinda Webby. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am from Salem, Massachusetts. Go Witches. My major is communication with minors in psychology and Hispanic studies. And on campus, I have a podcast with the Daily Pennsylvanian, our independent student-run media organization. It's very legit. Um, and I am also part of Penn Student Government. I'm part of the Nominations and Elections Committee.
Hi everyone, my name is Naeem Maloney. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm from Freeport, New York, and my major is economics. I'm in Wharton with concentrations in marketing and management. And on campus, I'm the current president of the Psi chapter of Alpha Alpha on Penn's campus.
Hi, everyone. My name is Misha McDaniel. I'm a senior, College 21. I'm an English major with a concentration in creative writing and a minor in Africana studies, as well as a certificate in French. I was born in New York, but I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. And on campus, I'm involved with FORAE, the African American Arts Alliance, which is a theater troupe, and the English Undergraduate Advisory Board.
Oh, thank you so much. So I'll toss the first question to first Sydney, and you all can jump in how, if your heart moves you here, but we just want to know, how are you navigating being Black at Penn, the entire Black experience? What is it like being a Black student? As we have told the audience, is about only 7.8% of undergraduates. So the number is not as great as we'd like it to be, but I mean, you're there. So just tell us more about that.
Yeah, so growing up in the South, I actually went to a predominantly white high school. And so coming to Penn, I was also sort of preparing for like that predominantly white space, coming in as like a Black woman. But honestly, I feel so much, I don't know, I feel so much pride in my Blackness now coming to Penn. Like the Black community is so embracing, and I've found so many friends through either like academically based organizations or socially based organizations. And it's truly just been a fantastic experience. And I mean, and of course, there's always room for growth, as there is with any university. But I've really enjoyed my time at Penn so far, and it's just been a fantastic experience.
Wonderful. Naeem, would you like to answer that question as well?
Yeah, I can jump in. Thank you. For sure, I think that being Black at Penn is definitely something that's, as you said, like is not as the number is not as high as we would have liked it to be. Like, and coming into, I came from a environment that's a little bit different. I came from a majority Black or and Hispanic high school, so when coming to Penn, I was a bit of a culture shock, I would say. But I think the most important thing that I did and something that's really helped me in my academic experience is really I found my community, and I think that the administration at Penn made it easier for me to do so. I was involved in some programs, like for example, Wharton Step was a great program that I was in as a pre-freshman and joining Wharton, and I met some of my really closest friends, best friends to this day, and I'm about to be a graduating senior the first week that I was on campus, right? So those like things like that, I was able to find my community really quickly, and then eventually become part of my fraternity, and then even like from that even more so expand my community. And I feel like that's really helped me have a wonderful time here at Penn.
I really like this question. I was going to just, let only Sydney and Naeem answer, but I feel like Misha and Sia need to really answer this as well, just to give some other perspectives.
Yeah, for sure. Similar to Naeem, I also did a pre-freshman program, the Africana Summer Institute, and that is what really allowed me to be introduced to other Black students coming in, like incoming freshmen in my year. And without that experience, like the people that I'm closest to today, they happen to be from that program. And it was just really helpful seeing like other Black students, like as a pre-freshman who were doing different things, but that we existed, one, and that, we were there. So throughout the 4 years, I've like still know them. I still see them around campus. And it was a very helpful experience for me, especially. Yeah, so because of like the Africana, like I think I've had a really strong community of black students to help me along. And it's really important to find your community so you have support throughout your college career.
Okay, thank you, Misha. See Linda, take us out.
So I am West African, and there is a large, in my opinion, portion of a lot of not just West Africans, but South Africans and East Africans and so on. So PASA, Penn African Student Association, is a big org on Penn's campus, and I've really found my community there. And freshman year, I competed in a pageant. Have never done that before. I can't sing, I can't dance. My talent was braiding hair, and I guess the judges liked it, and I ended up winning. But, anyways, that was really cool. And I'm also part of Nigerians at Penn as well. So, yeah.
Great. So I know, Misha, you're a senior, and now that we've heard how you all have navigated this space and you found community, can we talk more about any academic support you've all received? And we can start with Misha. Were there faculty members that took you under their wing? Do you have like an academic mentor, or what's advising like at Penn?
Yes. So I think I've had a very cool relationship academically with some of my professors. And I think a lot of it has to do with the department, which is Africana Studies. So as I mentioned earlier, I was introduced to Africana through the pre-freshman program, but it ended up being one of my minors. And as an English major, there are lots of classes that cross list with Africana. So I was introduced to faculty members who had interests not just in Africana, but in English. So Margot Natalie Crawford is one of my mentors, my major advisor, and she taught my intro to AFM literature class freshman fall, and she was like, ever since then, me and a few people from that class, like she just really helped us. We always were meeting with her and talking with her, and the class itself, you know, was about like Black experience and Black literature. So it was like we were able to talk about the themes of the course, but also talk about our personal lives, and it was just a very good like community basically that I found in that class, and then in Africana, the Africana department. So I ended up TAing for Dr. Herman Beavers my sophomore year, and that class was like taught out of Africana. And so I was meeting people within the Penn community because it was like a ABCS course. Grace Sanders Johnson is another professor who I like I've taken a few classes with, and just was so very like mentoring. She taught Intro to Africana Studies, which is a big class, and even though the content is so interesting and can be kind of heavy sometimes, like she always tried to connect with the students. And so, yeah, like those people, those professors, they introduced me to Mellon, which is one of the fellowships that I'm in right now. They introduced me to academia, which is now what I realize I'm also interested other than creative writing. And so, yeah, that was me specifically, just like Africana professors and Africana classes.
Wonderful. And since you mentioned ABCS courses, would you mind telling our audience what an ABCS course is?
Okay, so I don't remember what it stands for, but it's like a
academically based community service.
Okay, yes, academically based community service class. So there's a whole bunch of them that are run out of the Netter Center here at Penn, and they're basically classes that have some sort of community engagement aspect to them. So my class was called, it was an August Wilson class. It was on, August Wilson. So we partnered with Sayre High School, which is one of the high schools in the neighborhood, and their high school students and college students had class together where we read August Wilson plays and put on performances for the community throughout the semester. So I had TA for that class, and yeah, it was super fun.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I do want to throw that same question to Naeem, as you are, unlike the women here who are in the College of Arts and Sciences, you are in Wharton, and I'd like to hear more about your take on academic support in the like kind of more in a STEM in a pre-professional school here at Penn.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for extending the question to me. Yeah, that definitely. I think that the academic support at Wharton is a bit different, seeing that the business space is usually diversity there looks a bit different in terms of like the people that make up the classes, right? So it is not uncommon that I would feel at least when I'm initially like stepping to my classes feeling a little bit isolated. But I was able to make up that through great professors, great academic resources. I would like to personally shout out my academic advisor, Miss Taran Tadal. She was like amazing in helping me one, structure my work in a way that I didn't feel stressed going through my different semesters. And also another shout out to Dr. Eufoma Abiola. She also did a great job, and they were also instrumental in helping me out throughout STEP. And I really got to meet them through the Wharton STEP program, which again is a program for pre-freshmen that I was able to be a part of. But I think that it was really helpful that I joined Black Wharton pretty early. That's another for those who don't know, it's an organization made and ran by students that go to Wharton. You don't have to be in Wharton to be part of the organization, of course, but I was able to, through that, find people in my classes, create study groups and things of that nature, and kind of like more on a student-led academic resource side. And all those things were really helpful. I think it was helpful to be proactive in my search for resources, but also at the same time, there were some really, really helpful people in the UG office and the undergraduate Wharton office that helped me kind of like feel secure in my spot at Penn. And I think that's something that we definitely talked about a lot, not just um, the grades and things of that nature, but also about how I was feeling as a student that in a space that might not have been as comfortable to me as some other people who coming from the high schools that they came from as compared to my high schools might be more used to the things that we were talking about in class as opposed to where I was coming from. So
Excellent. Thank you, Naeem. So, by a show of hands on our of our panelists, can you all tell me who here has maybe studied abroad? Anyone? Wonderful. Oh, and Misha, great. So, Sia Linda, I'd like to throw this to you. Can you tell me about that study abroad experience? Where did you go? And then after that, if you want to talk about any other internship or work experiences too, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so I studied abroad in Barcelona, spring 2020. So it was unfortunately cut short, but I want to give a caveat that Penn handled everything really great and had travel agencies book our tickets back home and were really communicative during the whole process. While it lasted, it was wonderful. I really uh, my minor, like I said before, is Hispanic studies, and it really helped me with speaking fluently and also picking up on Catalan and just meeting people. Loved it to pieces. And for internships, I interned at a nonprofit in my hometown right after freshman year, helping low income and first gen, like immigrant students with summer programming, but the nonprofit also works with after school programming. And then the summer after, I'm interested in television and media. I interned at Nickelodeon as a digital programming intern, and that was just like a dream come true because I was totally a Nick kid. And then this past summer, I interned at Google as a marketing intern, and I will be doing that after college. So that's super exciting.
That's very exciting. Wow. Oh, Sydney, have you had any internship or work experiences that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I've been working at a law firm in Nashville for the past couple of years. So actually thinking about like this upcoming summer, I didn't really know where to start, kind of like as a sophomore looking for internships. But I'm part of the Black Pre-Law Association as a general body member, and so they send out emails with a bunch of internship opportunities. And so clubs like that have been super helpful in trying to find something for this upcoming summer. So we'll see what sticks.
Great. And before Misha talks about her study abroad opportunities, I wanted to just tell the greater community here that at Penn, you can study abroad on every continent except for Antarctica. So, I mean, there are many different options. Beyond that, study abroad, we really use that term very broadly. So, study abroad can be as far as Australia, or it can be as close as Washington, D.C., where we have a Penn in Washington program. So lots of flexibility there, and you don't necessarily have to go abroad to work with our study abroad office. So Misha, tell us about where you studied.
Yes, so I had one study abroad a semester experience, and then I had a couple of Penn Global SEM experiences. So fall 2019, I studied abroad with the Penn in London program, which is an English program for English majors and minors, where we partner with King's College and you just take English classes in the UK. So I was in London for my junior fall, and it was really great, especially as a Figley student. I was able to, like, Penn basically kind of, my financial aid didn't change, and so I still had my scholarship, and so I was able just to kind of use what Penn gives me to live there, which was super cool because that was something that I was concerned about in terms of cost, which was really nice to know that Penn does that. And it was a great time. It was before COVID hit, and I did a lot of traveling in Europe, which was also really great. And then before that, I had taken this class called Seeing and Hearing South Africa, which was just like a regular course. And then over winter break, we traveled to Cape Town and Johannesburg. So I did that my sophomore fall, and that was also an amazing class. Yeah, it was so cool. And then the summer before that, the summer between freshman and sophomore year, I did Penn in Havana, which is another program. So it's a summer class, 2 weeks in Philly, taking classes on art. It was an art history class on Cuban art history. So it was like really cool visual art. And so 2 weeks in Philly, 2 weeks in Cuba, where we traveled the island from the east to the west, from Holguin to Havana, and then 2 weeks ending in Philly. So yeah, those are my experiences that I've had with Penn Global. And yeah, like they were super fun and they exist. And yes, so like if you're a freshman, you want to go abroad, apply for those things like ASAP, especially the global seminars, because they're very affordable and just cool ways to get out of the country and explore.
Wow. So I do want to take a moment, Misha. I know you just gave us so many good nuggets, but you said you were a Figley student, and I wanted you to tell the greater audience how you identify, what that means, and what it means at Penn.
Yes. So at Penn, Figley means first generation low income. So it's for students who identify as like the first person in their family to go to college, to go to an Ivy, and then low income base can mean, I think the university defines it as a house income level of less than $65,000. I believe is how the university defines low income. So it's for people who are just kind of like middle to working class, I guess, who come from middle to working class backgrounds. Yeah, and I identify as low income. I have basically a full ride because need-based. And I'm the first in my family to go to an Ivy League. So not the first in my family to graduate college, but yes, so I identify as Figley.
Nice. Wonderful. So I have some additional questions. Was there anything that anyone wanted to share related to whether work on campus or internships? I know Naeem has done some amazing things through Wharton, and I know we talked about pretty much everyone else has shared. I might as well allow Naeem to talk about some of his internship opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I think a lot of my internships that I've had throughout my time of college, one I've been searching throughout my own, but a lot of them also have been through connections that I made at Penn and at Wharton. So again, the little rewind, I was really involved in Black Wharton my sophomore and junior year. Definitely more so my sophomore year. I was actually the director of marketing. And one of the things that we did there is that we ran this conference called the Howard E. Mitchell Memorial Conference, the HEM conference for short. And as like as students on Penn's campus know, that's a really great conference for you to meet representatives from other companies in the business world or in the financial sector. And then through that, I was able to just make some conversations, connections, and talk to people. And not that I got an internship through that conference, but I happened to have a conversation with this one person who told me, hey, you should look at this Google Bold program. And this was eventually a program I had no idea about. And we had that conversation. He told me to look it up and check it out. I checked it out, ended up applying. And then a year and a half later, I ended up being an intern at Google, right, for the summer. So all those things started, like, of course, I put in my hard work and I studied and I did interviews and all those different things. But that connection wouldn't have been possible without meeting people at that conference that I made. And that conference was totally student ran, student put on, student organized, and we ran it totally ourselves on Black Wharton. So I'm really proud to have a big part in that, and then also gain something from it as well.
Oh, wow. These are really phenomenal answers. I am feverishly taking notes so that I have stories to share on the road when we finally get back to on the road post COVID. But I do actually have a question for my co-presenter, Brian Peterson, who this year became a Penn parent. Woohoo! So, as you know, not just as an alumnus, and I know that you are also married to a Penn alumna, so you all are a big Penn family. With that said, what is it like being a Penn parent for my parents who have tuned into this program, and what concerns or did you have? How were you reassured, especially this year as we are navigating a global pandemic?
So in a word, it's weird. It's very weird. The balance, right? You know, you have this dream. So, you know, I went to Penn, met my wife at Penn, lived in Du Bois College House, was a GA in Du Bois College House. So I had this fantasy of driving my daughter to campus, which, you know, we live in Philly, so it's a 20-minute drive. So it's not even that big of a deal. So already that was minimal. But then now she's in the room across from me. So that whole dream is dashed. But I think for us, I was really intentional about trying to allow her to carve out her space, not expect her to do the same kinds of things that she had did at you know, while she was in high school in terms of chores. She has her own schedule, you know, and it's just like I wanted to give her that room and that freedom. But also, you know, working at Penn, I thought that would be awkward, you know, just having her be in Maku and using the space. It's just like, but I think my daughter is very independent, but she's also very, you know, self-determined and very resourceful. So, you know, it's funny just knowing Misha and how she came in as a Robeson Cooper Scholar with Maku. And now my daughter Nia is in Robeson Cooper Scholars. We had that call right before this call. So, you know, I see a lot of our students, and I think the one thing, as you know, just kind of echoing back to what you all shared, and kind of looking at my experience as a Penn student versus you all, and I also see this in my daughter as well, is that when I was at Penn, I came in 1989, and I think the Black experience was almost insular, right? It was very much we had to kind of take care of ourselves, and the climate, you know, around campus wasn't as welcoming. So, but we you know, we created spaces for ourselves, and we created organizations, and we, you know, had conferences like Naeem mentioned, and that was really a fuel for our presence. But I would say now in the 21st century, you know, our students they have that still, but they have so much more. Like I know for me personally, I don't know if I would have felt like study abroad was for me, right? Just because of just navigating Penn in a particular way at a particular time in the 1990s, you know. But I think now we encourage our students to do everything, right? Yes, come to Maku, hang out, do Black Wharton, do all the different clubs, but do, you know, write for the DP, run, you know, any organization you want to on campus, go abroad, apply for all the different internship programs. And I think that, you know, having the best of all these worlds, and then, you know, really connecting to all of your peers. And I think that, you know, speaking on my daughter's behalf, that's probably the most challenging thing, is that she cannot have the Penn experience that I know, you know, is really the lifeblood of Penn, is that seeing people, right? Meeting people, you know. Zoom, it does what it does, you know. We'll take it. I think the benefit of Zoom is that if I have a meeting at 9 o'clock, I can get up at 8:58 and be on time, right? It's like let me get the crust out my eyes and I'm good. But you know, and I don't do that every day. So let me not say that that's how I'm living my life, because I am not. I'm a responsible parent. I got my kids in school. I'm dressed. I'm brushing my teeth. Everything is great. But if I had to do that, I could, and that's the only benefit. The downside is I don't get to see y'all. You know, I don't get to see y'all every day like I normally would, and I really miss you all. So it's good to be on this call with you four. Really happy to see you all in this context, and hopeful that we'll be able to be in person at some point soon.
Ooh, thank you for sharing that, because I know that there are a lot of parents on the call and they want to know that if their child were to get in a pen, that there's space for them and space for them to be themselves, and that they'll be able to find community. And it was great to hear it from the students, but also as an alumnus and a parent, I thought that extra bit of flavor was great there too. Um, so it's 7:37 and we actually have a lot of time, and I'm seeing these questions come in the chat, and I think I'll put it out there. We've had a pretty positive conversation thus far, but the questions in the chat want us to get a little bit deeper and want us to get a little bit more real and just kind of acknowledge what has happened, at least in the past year, in society. And how that is for you all on campus. And the people who are here tonight want to know, as students, do you feel supported as Black students in light of the tragedies that have happened in terms of George Floyd and the protests around the country? What do those protests look like on campus? Is the questions such as, is the administration, do you feel like they are being responsive to you as students? So feel free to talk about that. You can start anywhere. I'm even seeing a question about discouragement and self-imposed doubt that might come from being a Black student in this highly selective institution and representing the pressure of representing an entire group. So we can go anywhere with this. I think I'm going to start with Naeem, and then we can just have other people chime in.
No, so if I can, I would like to pass the baton. I feel like I've spoken a lot, so I just want
Okay,
to like pass the baton to some of the other panelists who haven't spoken as much, and I'll come back after.
perfect. How about Sydney? Sydney Stevenson, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I can sort of speak to like my experience these past couple of months. Um, I think one of the I don't know, one of the biggest like internal battles I've had during my time at Penn is that being a part of like Greek life, because I'm not in one of like the Black sororities. I'm in a predominantly white sorority. And so when everything happened this summer, it sort of like brought back feelings of like tokenism and things of that nature, because there aren't a lot of Black women in the sorority. And luckily, like my sorority was very quick with the response, and they were very embracing of like talking about it and actually like making sure we had like anti-racism training and stuff of that nature. But yeah, I mean, there are times that are hard, and especially with everything going on, like it's sometimes feels isolating in a sense. But I think there's a lot of great resources, especially through like Maku and like my like year, we have like a Black Penn group me. And so a lot of people were talking in that, because like obviously we weren't on campus or anything last semester. So I sort of felt like that was like a really big support system for me. Yeah.
Wonderful. Let me open it up to Cia Linda Levy. What does activism look like on campus or at Penn? And, you know, feel free to broaden that question as much as you'd like in your answer.
Yeah, so there's several different groups. I don't know if the audience knows, but there's a big push for Penn to pay pilots because it's a nonprofit organization. And because of that, so much money that I can give to Philly schools, that doesn't happen. So this summer, after everything, I believe they donated 100 million. I could be wrong with that number. And although that was great, I want to reckon back to like virtue signaling. It does not cover the money that they morally owe to the Philly students. Uh, so that's a big thing, and there are student groups fighting towards that. There are other groups fighting for um, sexual assault is a thing, not just at Penn. It's a thing across so many college campuses across the world, a prevalent issue. And there are student groups that are bringing attention to that issue and trying to help survivors heal from that and move on with their lives. So there's activism in that sense. And I'm a part of student government, like I said before, and my specific branch, we're there for 4 years. We're kind of like the Supreme Court in the sense that we run elections and make sure they're fair and equitable. And we also nominate students to represent and underrepresented populations on campus, on university council, where the president and provost and other Penn admin sit on. And even with that, to touch on the reality of how going to a PWI, there's a lot of great things about it, but there are things that aren't as great. And which with each class, there's supposed to be 10 students. And this year, with the pandemic and a lot of students not being on campus, our class had no Black students. And the club used to be very white, from New York, very wealthy, and has gotten diverse ever since my class, which is really diverse. But that really upset me. And one of the people on exec boards is a Black woman, and she advocated for us to take more freshmen this semester since everyone came back on campus, and they shot it down. And I was really upset about it because I said, in the age of Black Lives Matter and people being anti-racist, you can actually do something instead of saying, I donated to this fund and so on. We're giving you a chance to fix it and rectify it, and you don't want to take that chance because it doesn't fit the elitist thing that you want going on. So there's a lot of people wanting to be, I say, instead of woke, they're woke-ay. They're actually asleep, but they want to tell people that they're woke, and that's a thing that you have to fight about and just hope that things change a little bit at a time. Yeah.
Wow, that was I like that. Okay, I've learned something. Um, with that, I just want to take a moment to so Penn is a place of acronyms, and I'm not sure. So as you can see, our students are using ABCS courses and pilots. So I want to take a moment to talk about pilots, which isn't a Penn acronym, but just in case you heard that term and you were unfamiliar. So pilot stands for payments in lieu of taxes. So as Cia Linda explained, Penn is a nonprofit organization, which means they don't have to pay certain taxes. And one of the primary things that has come into play is that in theory, they don't pay taxes to support the Philadelphia School District, which is like the fifth or sixth largest school district in the entire country. So that said, one of the things that Penn has done this year, they did give that $100 million grant to the school district, as Cia Linda explained, and it's for $10 million a year over 10 years to address things like, I believe, like lead in schools or things of that nature, like to make the buildings more safe for students to be in. So I just wanted to give some context there. I'm seeing questions in the chat about questions, for instance, how does Penn work to educate all students on racial injustices? Anyone want to take that? No pressure. Oh, I see Misha. Okay.
So I guess my immediate reaction is they don't really. I feel like the administration itself doesn't provide a lot of information on how to be anti-racist to its students. And I think that's partly because some of the faculty members at Penn have been a little a little racist. Yeah. It's just like like there's like a Penn law professor who, yeah, she just said like the Black Penn law students don't perform as well, and everyone was like, fire her, and they didn't. So, but I will say though, there are faculty members on campus who do have classes that you can take where you will learn a lot about not only just like Black people, but all types of people, Asian Americans, Indigenous folks, queer people. Like if you go to those departments, Africana, gender and women's studies, Hispanic studies, if you go to them, you'll be taking classes with like really great faculty members who really know a lot about like these types of issues. And it can be history, sociology, English, anthropology. They're all across different fields. And I feel like I've taken lots of classes that have just like really exposed me to different like issues going on in the world from a historical lens, have given me the vocabulary to like name certain things. And that's something that you can do as a student on your own. So even though, like I said, I don't think the administration does a great job, there are places like on campus where you can definitely learn more, plus the student groups as well.
Yeah, and just to build on some of Lisa's point, I think one thing that's really important in talking about some of these questions is that Penn, the noun, can mean a bunch of different things, right? So when we say Penn, Penn can mean the Penn administration, it could mean the board, it could mean the faculty. It really depends on the context of the question. And just to add on a bit of what you're saying, I've had a great experience with a lot of Penn faculty, but not as much with Penn administration, right? So like when we say Penn in general, it can mean a bunch of different things, but I just wanted to put out there that like it really depends on the context.
And I think that's context is helpful. And I think one of the things that I'm feeling, you know, I'm a parent as well, but my children are much younger. I don't have close to high school parents, or I'm not a Penn parent or anything like that. But one of the things that I want to maybe ask or bring up is, as you all are navigating these things and people have questions about how you're navigating systemic racism in terms of getting these internships or getting these opportunities, despite maybe some of the negative things that we just brought up, why Penn? Like, why are you still here? Like, what motivates you to, you know, keep going? You know, because these are lived realities, right? We talked about the good and now we're talking a little bit about the bad, but what makes an Ivy League education worth it still, in spite of? What makes Penn worth it in spite of?
I can jump on this one. I think that it really depends on the type of like everyone's different and everyone responds differently to different environments. So again, not to say that an Ivy League, and even considering everything that we've says that an Ivy League education is bad, in spite of the things that we've said that we've not necessarily liked about our experience at Penn. One thing I would say that Penn has given me a bunch of opportunities to meet different people that I'm not sure I would have met otherwise. Not to say another type of school couldn't have had those same opportunities, but me having my experience at Penn, I can only speak to my experience, and I've had opportunities here that I've been really thankful for, and I've met some great people that I probably wouldn't have met otherwise because I would have went to a different school. So that being said, like there are a bunch of things that we as Black students want to be better, and I'm sure the administration, I'm sure the faculty are hearing us and are working on it as well. But I would say that I've also met some great people here and had some great experiences in spite of all the bad things as well.
Thank you.
To jump
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
Penn is a wonderful institution. It's world renowned. You get a high class education along with that brand. And I don't know if you all are into fashion, but a lot of things, what makes a Gucci belt $200 is that emblem, the two G's, right? So Penn is that in that sense, and it follows you the rest of your life and can change cycles of poverty. So like Misha, I figly am low income. My parents did go to university, but I'm low income. And I wasn't even born in the States. I was born in West Africa in the Gambia. So Penn, the opportunities that have been afforded to me, like Naeem mentioned, have been phenomenal and unbelievable. And also I get to go to school on a full ride. I got to study abroad in Barcelona and do all of these amazing things. Also, didn't mention this, but did a fellowship with Hillel, a Jewish organization on campus. I'm Christian though, but and open to different cultures and learning from people and have friends across that run the gambit in diversity. But we took a 10-day trip to Israel, Palestine, and got to meet Jewish people and Muslims and Christians throughout and just learn firsthand. So opportunities like that, and that whole trip only cost like $200. it's just phenomenal, you know? So I'm grateful to Penn and all it has afforded me. I would like my kids to come here. I want that Penn family one day. And I'm grateful for that. And with good things, there needs to be change, but that will come in Jesus' name. And yeah.
All right. Thank you. Naeem has his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit more context to what we were saying about financial aid. So again, I don't identify as figly, and I think I'm a bit outside the bracket for like low income, and I still receive a very, very generous financial aid package. So I just wanted to put on the call for those who might not necessarily what's the word I'm looking for? Identify as someone who is low income or low income family, that there's still a really good chance that you could receive a really gracious financial package. And as it like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm graduating with very, very little to no debt, and I'm really extremely thankful for that. Especially coming with the quality of education that I've come from, or that I've received in my 4 years of being here. So that's another thing. In spite of all the things that we've talked about in being here, I'm really excited to go into my post grad life having kind of an advantage in not having to pay extreme amount of debt, and while also having a great degree behind me.
Excellent. And I feel like that'll give me an opportunity to talk about financial aid for a moment. So, I am in our office, in the undergraduate admissions office. I am the financial aid liaison to student financial services, rather. And I just want to tell everyone on this call that the University of Pennsylvania is need blind in our admissions process. So we don't care if you're Figly or just Lee, like Cia Linda and Misha, or if you are middle income like Naeem. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your financial resources are. If you are if you get into the University of Pennsylvania and you let us know that you need financial aid, we will meet all of your demonstrated need. That said, it is your demonstrated need. We do not give out merit scholarships. So likely, if you're admitted to the University of Pennsylvania, you are full of merit, full of first academic merit. You might have some athletic ability. You may play an instrument. You may be world renowned in the wonderful thing that you do. We will not give you financial resources for that talent, but we will give you financial resources for all of your demonstrated need. I just wanted to give some tidbits on that. And all right, so we have about 5 minutes, and I received a question in the chat about what we're doing to increase the amount of Black students on campus. And I feel like as an admissions officer, I should probably take this one. And what I would say is in order to increase Black students, we got to increase Black applications, right? So it's on us to get our marketing out there. We're not on the road in person, but I find that the pandemic has given us opportunities to do this type of recruitment. So this event right here is something that 2 years ago we didn't have, but now we have this targeted event to a population. You're hearing from actual Penn students, you're hearing from a Penn alumnus, and you're getting kind of like this insider view. So our hope is that we can do more of this. I don't know if you all know, but if you're on this call, we were test optional this year, and we'll be test optional next year as well. And traditionally, testing has been a barrier for marginalized students in application processes at many institutions, including here. So now that we are test optional, this may be an opportunity for students who might have been a little bit outside of that range who have phenomenal grades and who have wonderful impact within their school community and their community at large to really apply to Penn. So we're doing what we can on our side to definitely increase the pipeline of applicants. And then once you are admitted, we got to convince you to come. So that's part of it too. The yield is a big deal, getting you to say yes to us versus some other institution. So we hope that this event is one step closer to that. All right. Any parting words? Any parting words? And I think I'm going to give this to my co-presenter, Brian. Can you leave us with some encouraging, kind words to close out the event?
Absolutely. Now, first, I want to thank you all for your time. I know in this new reality, all these Zoom hours that, yeah, you're making a choice to be here with us. Hopefully, this really left you with some good insight. I always say, first and foremost, if you want to get, an understanding of what it's like to be at Penn, talk to our phenomenal students, because I always learn about new opportunities and just new experiences, the things that they're able to do. And like you all on the call, I mean, you all are amazing. You're gifted. You're bright, and it is very competitive, right? But shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. Work hard. Do all the things you need to do, and ask the people around you, right? For support in the process. Whether you're doing it this year or you're doing it in the years to come. Just really galvanize your team. Stay motivated. I know COVID is complicated for us all, and it's discouraging, but really you got to keep your hopes up, and really wrap around those around you. But again, for this particular event, I'm so glad that we had this during Black History Month to see all the amazing things that we're doing here on campus. And really, again, congratulations to all of you, especially my graduating seniors, for all the work that you've done over these years. And it was great to be a part of this. So thank you all.
So with that, our program is coming to a close. If you like what you heard and you want to know more about Penn, please come to visit us virtually. Our contact information is up on the screen right now. We have virtual visits, we have virtual tours. If you can't make any of that, we have our own YouTube channel, and you can follow us at Previewing Penn on social media. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram, and a Twitter. So with that, have a wonderful evening, and thank you for attending Black Excellence at Penn. Goodbye.